Hey guys, this is Versus Z here with a video review of High Grade Trans Am Susanowo from Gundam 00. Alright, welcome back guys. Before I begin, once again, there's an unboxing video for this kit, so if you want to go ahead and check that out. It was made a while ago, so the quality is still at 480p, but it's still an unboxing video. You can go ahead and click on that link right over there. It should take you to the video. So with that said, let's get this review started. This kit was released in 2010 and retails for 1,500 yen, which is roughly 18 or 19 US dollars, current exchange rates. It's a cool little kit. There's a normal release, of course, and that one came out, or this model kit came out a couple of months after that one. So you can choose to get this Trans Am version or the normal version, which is all black, gray, and white. Speaking of, or before I get into colors, let me do a quick size comparison. Obviously, you can tell he's kind of a tall kid, especially with these horns and stuff. Head height wise, he is just as tall as the heads and the GNZ units if you have their feet in the ground form. So here's a Trans Am 00 or Trans Am Riser from the Trans Am Riser kit. So you can see Susanowo is pretty much a head height taller. So there you have it. And on top of that, Susanowo's legs and the way I have them posed is it's a little different than what it should be. It's a little spread out a little bit more. So there you go. And for those of you who don't have 00, I guess here's the O Gundam. So there. Okay, now colors. You do have what I guess is a really dark copper or metallic brown, I guess. It's to represent all the black. So whatever all these dark colors are supposed to be black. For all the white pieces, you get this kind of this frosty, kind of matte silver, I suppose, like kind of a matte pearl white. You also have steel. I call it steel because it really matches the Mr. Color paint of steel. So for all the gray parts, I suppose you get steel. And there's very few, like for the joints and the hips, for the feet, for the forearms, and various pieces around the waist area, and the towel drive. Okay, so that's it for colors. Except he does come with a couple of foil stickers. I can't remember where all of them go on to, like this one especially. This is really kind of a V-shaped white one, so somewhere around there. This black one goes around the gauntlet near the wrist. So if you don't want to paint that, you have to choose to either try and match this color as close as possible, or you might want to cheat and get the steel color and then paint it around there instead. There's also this orange one which goes on here, right in that area, and that's about it. So you can tell there's no panel lining, nothing that was done. This is pretty much bare out of the box. So this is what you're getting. So yeah, that's that. He does come with a few accessories as well. He comes with a stand, a black one, which is unbuilt because I didn't like it. He also comes with his two swords, the Shiranui and the Unryu. The Shiranui is the longer one and the Unryu is the shorter one. Very plain. They're made of two parts, these two here, and then of course the swords. So they're very plain looking, although they do have some detail that you could highlight. Yeah, if I can recall, Pro 55 actually did this model kit, the normal one, and he actually detailed the swords, and they looked really cool. So yep, these two separate pieces are made so that you can combine the swords to make the Soten, just like that. And he can hold his swords very well. You don't have to pop the hands off or whatnot, and they sit in there very firmly. There are also these little grooves on the sides of each sword, so that way you can store both swords underneath his side skirts, and these clips right here. And I don't want to demonstrate that to you guys because it's easy to get in there. They clip on, they wiggle a little bit, but they're a pain to get off. And not that they're a pain, they just feel like when you try to get them off, it feels like because of the Trans Am gloss injection, I suppose, the plastic actually is slightly more brittle than normal, and which is what leads me to the next feature that this kit has, and another thing that I don't want to demonstrate to you guys because I actually broke something. That's why I brought up the whole brittle plastic thing, and it has to do with the side skirts. The side skirts basically can turn into claws, I guess, for more melee options. Let me just show you guys in the manual instead. And it's conveniently placed right here. So you take the white pieces off. There are these two hinges on each side, and you lift them up. Inside these white pieces, there's some tabs. So in the most inner tab is when you have it stored, and then there's the most outer tab, which you gotta put onto the hinges, and that way you can have them displayed as claws. And there's not a really good picture of this. Oh, here we go, right there, and that's how it should look. Not one of the best features, like I said. Haven't used it, and when I actually did try to use it, I broke something. So I just prefer not to use it. You also have, aside from the clips underneath the side skirts, you also have a clip here on the back. If I could move this thing out of the way, right there. Right there. So pretty much a back skirt clip. Also something I don't use because I find that with all this kibble in the back here, all this kibble, having to store the Soten in that form just kind of adds on to all the kibble, and it's a mess. This kit is already a mess enough. You don't want to add on to all that. The best way to store the swords are underneath the side skirts where they should clip on, or in his hands. You also have, of course, the energy cable, which is made of, flexible. There's a little copper wire in there, and you can use the swords and plug one of the swords at the end of that cord, so kind of like Epion. So that's one feature. Another feature is, because this mobile suit in, I guess, the backstory of this mobile suit is that it's basically Graham Acre's mobile suit, and you guys know Graham Acre. He wants to fight in flags, and he will always have to fight in a flag. So therefore, this guy, and you can even see the flag resemblances. I'm sorry I don't have a high grade flag in hand. I do have an over flag. I just don't have it in hand to compare to. But there are flag elements on here, such as the chest, the legs, of course, and just the overall physical look to him in general. But there is a cool feature where you can take off this white piece in his face, and you can see the flag's face right underneath there. This is basically the flag's head, this part here, and then everything else is just added effect to add on to the whole effect of a samurai motif. And it's cool, I guess. If you had like a normal, if you had like a paintbrush or whatever, you can get in there and detail that. It's especially effective if you have the normal version. So yeah, this is cool, and I like the visor here because it really looks like something off of Gurren Lagann with the V-shaped visors. That's pretty cool. And one last feature, the coolest feature of this kit, I have to say, is the Tri-Punisher. It's even got a cool name. So basically what you want to do is you take these side pieces, open them up, just like that, and then on the chest here, it's on a hinge, so you can actually lift it up a little bit, and that's why you get this little action here. So you get that and lift it up a little bit, and you want to be careful because something might break, especially because this is the Trans Am version. And sometimes I like to have him displayed with his chest just like that, because it adds a little bit more slenderness to him and a little bit more height, because his chest looks so, squat compared to everything else. But anyway, you lift up the chest, and then you take this tab and pull it down, and then there's another barrel right there. And so you have the Tri-Punisher. This is one of those kind of features in those weapons where something just kind of appears out of nowhere and then shoots. But there's also one thing that this kit comes with, and it's the beam chakram. It's a clear piece here. I didn't paint it because it's one of those things that I was never going to use, and you basically just put it on there. It's supposed to be clear orange, but I guess you can paint it whatever you want it to be. So yeah, that's one of the cooler features of this model kit. So now, I think that's everything in terms of accessories and stuff. And see, his body looks squat. So yeah, sometimes I just like to have them displayed like that. Now to the articulation, and you're gonna have to bear with me because even I have a hard time bearing with myself when I have to do with the articulation. The articulation is great, but there's one major point of this model kit that absolutely hurts it. So let me show you. So you have a double ball jointed head, standard double ball jointed head. Because of all the kibble around the head, you gotta be careful. But you can get it to rotate and look up and down and stuff. Well, a little bit up and down, just because of these little face armors. The shoulders can go forward and backward a little bit, and this here is sort of independent on its own. It can go up and down like that. The arms can go up that far on their own. These pieces here are on their own ball joints right there, so you can adjust these however you want them to. There's a bicep rotation, but it's not a hinge or a swivel. It's a ball joint, one of these, and those ball joints suck. And you guys will see how badly they suck in a second. Hinge at the elbow, so a little bit over 90 degrees, and ball jointed wrists. The torso can swivel a little bit, not too much because of, again, all this kibble back here. And yeah, the side skirts, they are on these hinges here. It's not even a hinge, it's more of a ball joint. It's one of those that usually belong on a side skirt, and it's annoying. It really is annoying. You also have a ball joint here, so you can get it to rotate forward if you want to do the claw thing, and you can adjust the side skirts into whatever position you want them to, depending on what pose you have. And now finally, the worst part of this model kit. The hip joints. It's these hip joints, guys. It's the ones that come with, I'm not sure about Kyrios, but definitely Arios, and it wasn't so bad. But part of the reason why I think these hips suck so much is because, especially with this model kit, is they're the darker ones, so they probably gave it a little bit of color, which kind of reduced the amount of friction you should normally get with a normal polycap joint. And it really hurts the figure. You saw earlier that the leg just kind of popped off on its own. But anyway, try to bear with me here. Legs can go forward really high, granted that there's nothing in the way, and granted that still stays there. Legs can go back pretty far. They can kick out that far, and because of the amount of friction you don't have here, the leg might not stay out that far, or they might not stay out for that long. Also, because of the lack of friction, there's actually a little swivel here at the thigh, but it's hard to do because of, like I said, the lack of friction between the ball joint and the socket. But you do have that option. There's a single joint knee bend, like so. And let me just remove the freaking leg. The ankles, the ankles are cool. Like, you got a good amount of articulation. This piece here you can use as a point of stability. It acts as a heel spur. But there's a ball joint up here at this part of the ankle. There's a ball joint here at the bottom of the feet, so you can get a whole lot of articulation there. And it's also on a hinge. So this is actually the joint that you typically use in the torso for your Gundams from the 00 line. So you have lots of great you got lots of points of articulation on this model kit. Great areas, great uses of joints here and there, except for the hips. But that completely hurts the kit because the hips are so weak. Sometimes the kit can't stand on its own. Sometimes he can't even hold his pose for too long. Like right now, like I can't even get him to stand fully, and earlier he was standing fine. So that part of him really does suck, and it hurts the model kit a lot. And this, I don't know why this popped off. It doesn't normally pop off so often, I guess because I'm reviewing, it wants to pop off. But anyway, it just plugs back there, and I really like this. I really like these because it adds more of a sense of motion to your poses. It really like with the pose you guys saw earlier at the intro video. It adds a sense of motion as if he was moving. So it's kind of like hair. And the one reason why I like characters with long hair, especially with posing and art and comic illustrations or whatnot, it adds adds a sense of adds more dramatic sense to whatever you're doing. So anyway, for my final thoughts, I cannot recommend this model kit to everyone. It's definitely for die-hard 00 fans. This kit might even put off the most die-hard of of Double O fans, and that really sucks. This model kit, the design is awesome. As a model kit, it's horrible, I have to say. And again, I cannot recommend this to everyone. It's not for everyone. It's really only for the diehard fan of this design of Graham Acre, and if you're a full completist of the Double O line. With the price range of being 1,500 yen, you can get other kits like the GNZ units, you can get the Thrones, you can get other Trans Am kits from the same series. It's unfortunate. It's a cool design. It's a cool design, but it was executed very poorly. Bad engineering. If these hips were made of the typical peg and socket like most hips are, then I think this kit would have been a lot more enjoyable. I can still pose him in the way I want him to, but it takes a long time for me to get him in the pose that I want him to. It took me like minutes, lots of minutes, to get him in the pose that you guys saw in the introduction photo or whatever. So with that being said, once again, I can't recommend this. It's definitely not for enough. But if you really must have this model kit, then be warned. There is a Robot Damashi figure for this particular mech, so you might want to give that one a shot if you're not too keen on this model kit. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys found this video helpful in some way. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.